What is something your teacher did in school that you're still salty about? My English teacher admitted to marking down all my work by a grade because, I think you could do better. Bitch. I was doing better and you made it look like I wasn't. Caused me to stop even trying. I had a teacher accuse me and a classmate of cheating on an exam because we had the same answer. It was a multiple choice test and she was upset we both had it correct. At the end of my first week at a new school, the teacher handed out slips of paper with our current grade. I had a solid A at my old school, but the teacher said I had an F. I asked her why. She said I didn't hand in the quarter project. I reminded her I had just moved to the school. She said we would give me the weekend to do it. The project was to interview a longtime local resident and write a paper about their experiences. The articles were being collected for a book she was writing. I failed the class. Threatened to hit me when, as a brand new midterm transfer in grade 3, I was too scared to speak to ask for her help, so I had tapped her on the arm instead to get her attention. Apparently, that warranted threatening to assault an 8-yo in the 90s. I had been there less than 2 weeks and had just transferred from a school of 40 to a school of over 200. Never gave my art a higher grade than AB+, even though she asked me every year if she could hold my art back to show everyone how to correctly apply a technique or what she wanted from everyone else that next year. Not good enough for an A. But this is perfect and it's what I want everyone to do. Which is it then? Bitch. 20 years ago, we had to make a diorama. We all had them sitting on tables in the classroom and one day some other kid was messing around. Fell into the table and smashed mine. I failed the assignment for having a smashed diorama. Oh my god, my cookery teacher. Won't give her real name. So we shall call her Gordon Ramsay's grandma, aka GRG. GRG was an old witch who should have retired years ago and had anger issues. She was furious when she learned I didn't use a gas cooker at home. Electric was cheaper, so didn't know how to immediately fire one up on the first lesson. I was about 10 years old. This woman would bellow at me from across the room. As a sensitive, people-pleasing kid I was a blubbering, trembling mess each lesson because I was petrified of making mistakes and her shouting at me. One day I was running behind. I always ran behind, and she took my food out of the oven, cakes on a baking tray, and I reached to grab something and accidentally brushed against her arm. This CNT literally screamed, grabbed my wrist and pressed my palm against the baking tray. The baking tray that had just come out of a 200-degree oven. Only for a split second. Didn't hold it there or anything, but it was enough to blister my skin. One day I couldn't face going to her class, so I feigned illness and was kept off school. One of my classmates told me apparently during registration, roll call. When they told her I was off sick, GRG laughed and said, "No, she isn't. She's just scared of me. Nice to see you were so self-aware." Bitch. I never reported it directly, but I did tell my mom, who demanded the school did something about it. We had a meeting with the head of year who laughed it off saying, "She's a good teacher. She just doesn't like the quiet ones." Nothing was done. If the crusty cow is still alive, she'll be in the Guinness World Records. Rot in hell, GRG. You saw a shy kid and instead of building up her confidence and patiently teaching her a valuable life skill, you decided to bully her and drag her self-esteem down to rock bottom's basement. It took me ages to learn how to cook because of you. Thankfully I got my confidence back and now enjoy cooking. In middle school I did a display with real fossils that my parents had let me borrow. The teacher was insistent that I sell the fossils to him, but I refused. So the teacher gave me an F on the display. I had left my calculator on my desk in physics class and the teacher took it. I had engraved my initials on it so it was unmistakable. My problem with this was that he always asked me during class if I had my calculator and I told him. I still couldn't find it. The end of school year comes around and another student was snooping through his desk and found my calculator. All year that asshole was giving me a 0 for the day since I didn't have it. One of my high school art classes was called 3D design, which was basically clay, sculpting, and various three-dimensional artwork. On the first day of class my teacher pulled me aside and told me she looked at my schedule, which was mostly honors and advanced level classes. She said that because I was clearly such a good student she would grade me on a much harsher scale, and would hear none of my objections that being book smart doesn't translate to artistic abilities. The poor marks I received in that class skewed my GPA. In grade 4 my teacher kept making me redo my printing sheets because my handwriting wasn't neat. Eventually I asked him why he didn't make any of the boys redo their sheets because they had messy handwriting too. I still remember the look of shock on his face but didn't understand the significance at the time, because I was just genuinely asking. I don't remember what he said afterwards other than the fact that I didn't find his answer satisfying. Tried to force me to write with my right hand. Alright, so this is something that really had me pissed off as a kid. And every time I think about it I get fired up. I was in 3rd grade. The 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grades were doing a week of square dance. Then at the end of the week on Friday, we were going to have a recital and do a performance. Sadly, I was leaving for vacation and that would be starting that Friday, so I couldn't be in the recital. Oh well, I could still enjoy the square dance and have some fun with the rest of the classes. Right? No. My teacher made me sit in the classroom alone, while everyone was across the hall in the big classroom doing the dances. She made me do freaking vocabulary words for hours while I had to sit in a darkened room, alone, listening to the muffled sounds of Cotton-Eyed Joe stomping and laughing coming from the hallway. I was so pissed. I was crying every day. I begged her to just let me sit in there. I offered to clap, help with music, hold up a sign, just sit in the corner. Anything, to be a part of it. But no, I had to sit alone. No lights. And do vocabulary words with tears just running down on the paper. For 4 days straight, she basically punished me with in-school suspension for not being able to be at the recital due to my family vacation. I freaking hate that bitch to this day. She gave me detention for chewing gum. I didn't even enter the classroom when she did this. She smelled mint from my mouth when I said good morning back to her. I was about 9 years old and she wrote our language's word for ceremony on the blackboard. She spelled it with an S, like ceremony, and I raised my hand and asked if the word should not in fact be spelled with a C. She argued that she was quite sure it actually was an S, and wouldn't back down, even though I was absolutely sure. I read a lot of books as a kid and had read the word in my native language multiple times. Of course I looked it up after the class, and it turned out I was right. Still haven't forgotten. 20 years later. I guess she didn't want to lose face in front of a bunch of kids. I was on course for getting an A in IT for my GCSE, meaning I'd be able to do a web design module for A-levels. A month before the submission our tutor managed to lose every single piece of coursework for the entire class, ended up with a U, and had to spend the first semester of college doing a level 2 IT course instead of web design. 21 years later and I'm still pissed about it. High school psychology teacher evaluated me in front of the whole class as mentally troubled. and told everyone that I'm an undiagnosed ADD case with 99% certainty. And because she was a psych teacher, everyone took her word for it. Yeah, thanks for making everyone think I was mental throughout high school and giving me nagging self-doubts if I really did have ADD for most of my 20s. Until I got that medically ruled out. I wasn't always the best behaved kid, and even back then I understood that. But that was pretty harsh of her. She told me to get the hell out of her classroom because I forgot to get something signed by my mom. She then marked me as truant and played dumb when the principal got involved. I had my high school guidance counselor failed to send out my transcripts to the colleges I attended. 2. Caused me to get wait-listed on the good schools. Math bitch decided to take me to one task. I had to solve it in front of my whole class. I did. I was pretty confident the answer was correct. Then she checked it. Went full crazy mode and made fun of me for about 5 minutes. Called me silly words and rewarded with juicy bad grade. Then she proceeded to show my class how it should be done. She did it exactly the same, just like I did 5 minutes earlier. Some of my classmates told her about it. She was like, "Oh, y'all distracted me." She never spoke to me directly after that.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicuricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.